Thinking of moving to Ghana, guys, trust me. Before I moved to Ghana, I thought I had it figured out. I thought I knew basically everything that I needed to know about Ghana. But when I got here, reality hit me. Reality hit me in the sense that I was faced with cultural shocks. I was faced with the hidden cost of things here in Ghana. And it made me realize that I knew next to nothing about Ghana, save for the fact that I had read one or two things or I had watched videos. The information that I got was still not sufficient enough for me when I got to Ghana. So if you are like me, you're planning on moving to Ghana, then today's video is for you. Because in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the 10 things that I wish I had known before I moved to Ghana. It would have helped me in saving costs. It would have saved me some pain that I experienced when I got to Ghana. So today's video is going to help you not to be blindsided just as I was when I got to Ghana. So guys, if you really want to know what these things are, don't go nowhere. So one of the things that took me by surprise when I got to Ghana here is that when you're paying your rent, you are asked to pay your rent monthly. But the twist about paying your rent monthly is not that you're going to be paying it every other month. The rent is calculated monthly and you are asked to pay yearly. Unlike in my country, in Nigeria, and maybe a few other countries that I might not be aware of, when you go to rent a house, you are asked to pay yearly. So the landlord gives you the rent price that you are supposed to pay yearly. But whereas here in Ghana, you are being told that your monthly rent is, let's say, you're taking a two-bedroom, you're going to be paying $1,800 per month. So you are being given the exact figure of how much your rent is going to be. But what you have to do is that you are going to calculate that 1,800 times 12 months and give the landlord the sum, the total sum of the 1,800, Ghana cedis for a year. So when I came here, I was surprised because that's not how it is being calculated where I was coming from. And if you're coming here to Ghana, that means you have to, be well prepared in the sense that you have to calculate how much you are going to be paying, monthly and gather everything and pay it as a year's rent to your landlord. And I won't say that in my country where I was coming from, paying of rent yearly or 2 years upfront was a new thing to me. But what really, really got me shocked is that you hardly find a landlord that would want to take rent for just 1 year. Most landlords are looking for rents 2 years and above. So have that in mind that if you're coming for a long stay here in Ghana, your rent is going to be calculated monthly and it is expected that you are going to be paying for 2 years and above. Another thing that you need to know is that there is a big difference between Accra and other cities. Trust me, as a foreigner, every time we get to hear about Accra, 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 and of course, if you do not know, Accra is the capital city of Ghana, and it's only normal that most times you get to hear things about Accra, Accra, Accra. So coming to Ghana here, I just felt that Accra was the high and low of Ghana. I know that is very low of me, but because like I said, every time you get to hear Accra, Accra, Accra. But having lived here in Ghana, I realized that Accra is just one place. And within Accra, there are other places. Now, when you take Accra, there are other regions, which in my country we call states. There are other regions in Ghana. So if you're coming here, you should have it at the back of your mind that yes, there is Accra, and inside Accra, there are other settlements. And aside those other settlements inside Accra, there are other regions. Ghana has about 16 regions, and each region has something that is peculiar about that region. Now, I know that Accra is the fast pace or the heartbeat of the city, but there's also life outside of Accra. The life that you might be getting in other regions might not be exactly what it is in Accra, but then again, it is so. So you need to know that aside Accra, there are other places. We have Kumasi, we have Cape Coast, we have Tamale, we have Winneba, there are so many places in Ghana. So you have to, sharpen your horizon to know that it is not just Accra. Another thing that took me by surprise, when I got to Ghana here is knowing that cash is king when mobile money rules. Okay? Unlike my country, Nigeria, where cash is the main thing, it's the main, means of transacting business. Either you use your cash or you go to the ATM to go and still withdraw cash. But coming to Ghana here, I realized that there's what we call mobile money. Now, we didn't have mobile money, or even if we did have mobile money back home, it wasn't something that was, the everyday means of transacting business. But here in Ghana, I'm yet to see an adult who doesn't have a mobile money account. And that is because mobile money rules here. It is what people use to transact business every day. It's a day-to-day activity here in Ghana. So coming here, you have to get a mobile money account. That is where you get to save your money. You are able to transfer money and even receive money. So you cannot be here in Ghana and do not use mobile money. You can use mobile money in buying food. You can use it to pay your transport. You can use it just for anything that you need to use. And the mobile money account, another good thing about it is that it does take large amount of money in it. So this is not a case of you saying that, oh, you have cash. Now cash is being used for mobile money, like I said, it does work here in Ghana. So that was one shock that I experienced. I had to go get my mobile money. Of course, you would need your documents, your Ghana card to be able to open a mobile money account here in Ghana. So guys, I'll leave a link in one of my videos where I talk about the documents that you need to get before you come into Ghana and even while you are here in Ghana. So if you need a mobile money account, after you get your SIM, which has been already registered in your name with your Ghana card, or for foreigners, your non-citizen card, then you can open your mobile money account. Now, the mobile money account, you can get it with your MTN SIM, you can get it with your Telcel SIM, or you can even get it with your Tigo SIM. So whichever one it is that you want, go register your SIM, and you can now, you know, create your mobile money account. They say Africa is hot. They say Nigeria is hot. But Ghana is what? Hot. So of course, I lived in Nigeria for a long period of time, and I know what it is to experience the sun there in Nigeria. But coming to Ghana, the heat here, the sun here is on another level. So if you're coming from a country whereby you are not used to the kind of sun that is here in Ghana, then you need to prepare for the sun, because I must tell you for a fact, Ghana is hot, and this is a no-brainer. Ghana is hot. The weather temperature here can go extreme. It is something that you would always need to be hydrated all the time, because you do not want to experience, dehydration. And there are places aside Accra which can even get to the extreme, which is the northern part of Ghana. They can get to the extreme of the weather temperature. So you have to be prepared for the heat when you're coming. And when are talking about your preparations, which can be looked at from your dressing. Now, when I say dressing, I don't necessarily mean that you have to dress indecently. You just need to be prepared for the weather, knowing that you have, appropriate outfits to suit the weather. And of course, you might always want to go out with a bottle of water so that you are hydrated. African time. They say there is African time and there is Ghana time. I know African time in Nigeria, but I did not expect African time to be exactly the way it happens here in Ghana. Ghanaians are not naturally, a fast-paced set of people. I keep talking about this anytime I have to talk about the lifestyle here in Ghana. Ghanaians are laid back. Ghanaians are slow compared to where I'm coming from. So yes, even where I'm coming from, despite the fact I keep saying is we have what we call African time in Nigeria, but African time does not connote to what is Ghana time here. Ghanaians can take their time. A meeting can be scheduled for a particular time, but Ghanaians will still come when they deem it fit. I talked about this in one of my videos. I'll leave a link to that video so that you can watch it, where I extensively talked about Ghana time. So if you're coming to Ghana, you have to be prepared for Ghana time, because right here, it is how the life operates here. Nobody is going to shift because you are a foreigner. They are going to give you the same treatment of the Ghana time, just as they give it to every other person. So just know that if you're invited for an occasion, maybe 10 o'clock, if you choose to go early, it's on you. But just know that 10 o'clock connotes maybe 12 o'clock. Wow, Ghana food is different from what I know. Now, I wouldn't say that Ghanaians like food that is pepperish. But what I can say is that Ghanaians love spices in their food. And this is something that I would always say is different from where I come. I can say that we Nigerians, we eat a lot of food that could be, full of pepper. But I wouldn't say that we eat spicy food, which is not the case here in Ghana. Ghana loves spice in their food. Let me tell you guys the truth. It was when I got to Ghana here that I began to know the names of different herbs and spices because this is what these people eat here. Now, am I saying that those herbs and spices were not in Nigeria? No, they are in Nigeria, but the use of it is more abundant, here in Ghana. I got to know so many spices, I got to know so many herbs, and you can see that they easily infuse it into their meals. So if you're coming to Ghana and you're not used to eating spicy food, you're not used to eating food with herbs and all of that, then you have to get, prepared and have some kind of solution just in case you need to, use the guest internet. This is a problem here in Ghana. Internet connectivity, internet connection, it is a big problem here in Ghana. Don't assume that because you have data on your phone, then you can go ahead and upload that your video. Guys, you would have internet on your phone, but you will not have connectivity. Another thing you can say is that internet here is quite expensive. Internet is expensive. Take it from someone who comes from Nigeria into Ghana. And this is one of the shocks that I wasn't prepared for. Internet here is expensive, and I think because of that, it was, I don't know. Let me know in the comment section what you think about internet here in Ghana. Is yours okay for you? But for me, all I can say is that one of the things that I wish I knew I was prepared for before coming to Ghana was that internet here is expensive. For you to be able to, get good enough, data plan, then be ready to spend a lot of money. And even when you spend a lot of money, sometimes you're going to be having, connectivity issues. Oh, Ghana is warm. Ghanaians are welcome. Ghanaians take you like their brothers, they take you like sisters, they take you like family. They're interested in who you are. Just today, I went somewhere to get something with my daughter, and the seller wanted to know, because she had spoken the language to me, and well, I responded to her. But out of curiosity, she asked, "Where am I from?" And I told her, "I'm from Nigeria." She's like, "Oh," and turned to my daughter, like, "Oh, be like your mother." She's a nice Nigerian. They were interested to do things about me, and all of that. That is how welcoming these people are. They are ready for you to, adapt to the society, adapt into the system. They are ready to make you feel at home. So when you're coming to Ghana, I want you to know that whatever it is that you might have heard about Ghanaians, whatever negative stories that you might have heard about Ghanaians, take it from someone who's lived here for a while. One of the things I did not really, anticipate, of them is them being, welcoming and everything that has to do with being, nice to foreigners. There's a sense of deep community, there's a sense of deep roots, familiarity amongst themselves. They've been able to build and withhold their culture so that it passes from one generation to another. Ghanaians, I would say, are friendly and they are nice set of people. Fuel is expensive, and I think because of the fuel being expensive, it adds to the cost of transportation. I never, expected that fuel would be expensive. Now, this is not saying that fuel is not expensive in my country. Fuel is expensive, but when you think about the cost of fuel here in Ghana, fuel is so expensive that it affects the cost of transportation. Now, the cost of transportation, I wouldn't say it's in every area, but there are certain places that the price of the transportation is just alarming. You're wondering why should it cost so much from point A to point B? But then again, when you look at it and see the cost of fuel, then you understand why the transportation is quite high here in Ghana. Then another thing that got me surprised here in Ghana is Now we know that they say there's 24 hours light. Don't be deceived by that 24 hours light. There is light, but it is not as bad as my country. Now, I have been here in Ghana for a period of time, a long period of time. I have witnessed one too many lights out here. And what amazes me, one thing that took me by surprise that I wasn't prepared for, because we've already heard that Ghana has 24 hours light, is the fact that they take lights here. Now that is understandable, but what I just wasn't prepared for is that when they take light during the daytime, all businesses more or less are on a standby pending when the light comes. So what I'm trying to say is that where I was coming from, if it's light out in Nigeria, generators start to come on left, right, and center. But here in Ghana, I realized that when light goes out, there's this patience, there's this anticipation that is calm because they just know that no matter how long it takes, the light is going to come. So you would see businesses are just, should I say, closed pending when light comes. And it wasn't something that I was prepared for. So it took me by great surprise when I came here and I witnessed it for myself. But over the years, I think I've gotten used to it so that when the light is out, we all just patiently wait for the light because we know that the light is definitely going to come back in a matter of 1 hour, 2 hours, or as the case might be, you are going to be informed for how long the light might be out or when you should expect the light. Now, one thing that I can say for certain when you move to Ghana is that you are going to grow in ways that you never ever expected. And that is because you're coming to a new country, so you are going to learn so many things about the country. And they say when you travel, you expand your horizon, you build your wealth of knowledge. So there are things about Ghana that is going to shape your approach, it's going to shape your mentality about certain things in life. So definitely you are going to grow, you are going to expand, you are going to explode with wealth of knowledge and information, not just about Ghana, but maybe Africa at large. So, guys, these are basically the things I can tell you that I wish I had known before I came to Ghana. But nonetheless, coming to Ghana, I have lived here, I have experienced them, I have made sense of all the changes or all the culture shocks, all the costs that I have, experienced here in Ghana. So if you are planning to come to Ghana, you can run through these ideas that I have dropped here. And don't forget that, like I always say, Ghana is a warm, welcoming country. You are going to experience and build from those experiences. So thank you for watching today's video. If you did like basically everything I talked about in this video, don't forget that you can subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notification, give this video a thumbs up, and remember that we talk about everything relocation, everything life here in Ghana, and I will see you another day. Bye.